Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Omogbe, and of course, Austin Okonakman is in London. But then on the show tonight, we'll be talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Currently, they are in action against Algeria, international friendly. That game is tied 1 apiece. Nigeria scored first through Terim Fati, and of course, at the end of the day, Algeria got a penalty. It's 1-1 at halftime. So many international friendlies currently going on. Why? Because it's international break. There's also the UEFA Nations League also going on. We'll touch down on that. And of course, the hot topic today, the NFF elections, the sports minister meeting with all the presidential candidates, 11 of them, in Abuja this evening. He met with them, although the cameramen were not allowed into it. But we have some discussions for you, some of the information coming out from there, and also the fact that, well, a court injunction that was said that the election will not go ahead. But on this show, we're definitely going to find out if the elections will still be held. Remember, it's 30th of September. That's when it's taking place in Benin City. There's so much to talk about on the show tonight. And of course, the Flamingos talking about the under-17 women's national team. They've arrived in Turkey, Istanbul, for a 10-day training camp. They started training immediately. They arrived. We have videos of their first training session for you also on the program. And of course, Carly will get us talking. Remember, the Winter Olympics, Winter Youth Olympics, Nigeria is trying to qualify for it for the first time. Talking about the Youth Winter Olympics 2024, they're trying to qualify for it. That's also on the menu tonight. Austin Okonakman is in London. Austin, good evening.
Sport greetings to you, Cecilia, and of course, our viewers joining us from different parts of the world. It's good to be on the show, action-packed world of sports. I heard you read out what we're going to talk about tonight, and it confirms it. Cecilia, right there around the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Yes.
I think they've been pretty impressive. And then referee needs to answer some questions because, not me, some Super Eagles fans believe the goal scored by Ademola Lookman should have, been counted, but referee said it was off, and then Algeria got a penalty. Riyad Mahrez stepped up to it to, keep the game at 1-1. But just to let our viewers know that it was the Super Eagles that took the lead in the 8th minute through Terem Murphy. Cecilia, that was a beautiful goal. It had top striker quality written all over it. He kept his eyes on the prize, kept his eyes on the ball, and saw that chance after Kelechi Iheanacho's shot was deflected, and then he finished it off fantastic. So it's 1-1. The last time Nigeria played Algeria in a round, it ended 5-2 in favor of the Super Eagles. And I think they've done so well so far. So continue to monitor it and see how that will end, Cecilia.
And I hope the referee will behave in the second half, right?
Yeah, because there's been some, questionable calls. Maybe he's intimidated by the crowd.
Awful calls, Austin, not just questionable. We need to check his FIFA badge, referee, actually.
Referees
we need to check his badge to see.
I'll say in this sort of game, maybe they should have had VAR in place.
Yes.
Would have helped him, but it is what it is. It's 1-1. We'll take that.
We'll definitely take that. Of course, we will not be doing the show alone because tonight we'll be having Segun Vincent. He will be joining us on the program. Segun, of course, it's always good to have you on the program. How you doing?
It's good to be back again. It's good to have you on the show. When we are together on the show, it always feels different,
Oh, okay.
It feels different anyway. But it's good to be back here. And,
yeah, it's good to have you. So, Austin, we'll start off with this big news. Just this evening, of course, Mikel Obi's retirement. 20 years career, his longevity is something you will have to envy because of the time he spent. Won AFCON, he was able to win AFCON with Stephen Keshi, of course, when he was the coach, the late Stephen Keshi, 2013. We actually anticipated and waited for that because there's someone who plays his football so much. You just want him to win something big and huge. The controversy surrounding him, one of the most misunderstood players that I know because I've talked to Mikel Obi. He's very humble, but people say, hey, he's not. But I think he is. And not only that, with Chelsea, 310 something appearances, Champions League, the FA Cup trophies, the League Cup, the Premier League titles, the Europa League, and it's so much for John Mikel Obi. Finally, he says, okay, it's time for me to call it quits from football.
Stellar career, fantastic career he's got. And before I get into his career and the success Mikel Obi has achieved, let me just touch a bit about his personality. I always hear people say, Mikel Obi is this, Mikel Obi is that, but he's a perfect gentleman. Cecilia, I remember in 2018 when we played England, that international friendly before the World Cup, And so just by the team bus, I was speaking to Odioni Alo, and then I spoke to Victor Moses, and then someone tapped me at the back. I said, Mr. Okon, you've not spoken to the captain. I turned, and it was Mikel Obi, you know, and that right there, you know, just erased every negativity that I've read about this gentleman. He's such a perfect gentleman, had a fantastic club football career, had a fantastic national team career. Mikel Obi won arguably everything you can think about except the World Cup, you know, and what else do you want to be remembered for? That's some good legacy. You talked about his longevity. Played for the under-17, played for the under-20, played for the dream team, and then played for the senior men's national team and was captain until he retired. So Cecilia, I don't know what else to say, but just to wish him well and hope that he stays, you know, in a circle for the development of football in Nigeria.
Obviously, that's it. For you, I mean, Shegun, what do you remember Mikel Obi for? What are the things you feel, I mean, the impact he made in Nigerian football and also, of course, in England as a Chelsea player?
First of all, I think his name, the spelling of his name, you know, in the FIFA under-20, under 17 World Cup in 2003, you know, I think the NFA, they made a mistake in the spelling of his name, and then he said he liked it because he brought good fortune, and then since then, he has been on good fortune. You know, he had the under-20 World Cup with Yemi Teller of blessed memory, and then he moved on to the saga between him and Man U and Chelsea, and then they signed for Chelsea eventually, and then he had to change his game. He made a total of 494 appearances for club, and he scored 11 goals. 6 of those came for the Blues, or the Blues, the London club, you know, Chelsea Football Club, and then he played 94 times for Nigeria, when he scored 6 goals. And also integral in the AFCON, because I remember when he told the defenders in the dressing room that the way to stop Drogba is to prevent him from putting the ball on his chest and turning from them. And then they took the advice, and and anytime there was any issue in the game, he would always step up and tell that Drogba, these people are my people. So there's not, and he was very, very, as in, like, he was a workaholic. He showed adaptability in his game because he had to change the game from being a number 10 to into a defensive midfielder. He had to find a way to adapt his game, and then you can't. The 1 hour is not enough to discuss Mikel Obi. You know, I've not met him. Hopefully, I'll meet him in the future. But then I think, like what Mr. Austin said, and what you said, that he's a humble person. You know,
very, very
and of course, he's also very diverse too. Aside from him playing football, he knows his onions, and he's very, very intelligent, because aside from playing football, he has also invested money into business. I think Heidi was into transport. You know, so I have to tell you that, because of we've had issues with Nigerian footballers, or footballers in general, that after they played the game or they graced the game, made a lot of money, and they found out that they are struggling somewhere or somehow. But he has found a way to invest his money, and I think, and it's something we have to be able to, players or athletes have to improve on, as regards their financial intelligence. How they spend their money and invest their money, because of, you know what, you can tell this football career can end at any time, because injuries could come, age could go by. Mikel Obi is 35 years old, so some 35 years old are still playing, but he has decided to call his career, to end his career, because he has won it all, he has won everything, and he's arguably the best, the most decorated player in Nigeria. So he has won everything. The only thing he did in the Olympics, and probably, you know, but he has won the AFCON, you know, he has won the Champions League, he won the Europa League, won the Premier League, won the FA Cup, Carling Cup. I think if he sets on his medal, he will never go broke. So he will never go broke. But a grateful career for him, no doubt. Although he wasn't a proven goal scorer anyway, but then it is what it is.
Because he's not a striker. His job wasn't to score goals.
But he scored a wonderful goal.
There are players who are born to score goals. I mean, whose job
a wonderful goal at the cafe against Uruguay. So that goal was,
so his goal scoring is a bonus.
Yes, you know, but then we would have wished he scored more goals anyway.
Yeah, I mean, his goal scoring is actually a bonus for everyone, because I mean, he's not just into football. The social activities he's been able to do. He's back to base program. You know, he came to Nigeria not just focusing on only football development, but also he had to take in basketball and even tennis. And these are sports that usually people don't put money into. But Mikel Obi, he didn't stop there as a footballer. He decided to actually, you know, also put his money, you know, into those who are playing basketball and also those who are playing football. Let's just, you know, read a quote coming from him on his retirement. He posted this on his Instagram page after he says, okay, it's time for me to leave. And this is, he said, there is a saying that all good things must come to an end. And for my professional football career, that day is today. I look back at the past 20 years of my career, and I must say that I'm very satisfied with all that I was able to achieve, and more importantly, the human it has helped shape. I mean, that's what football, that's what it does to you. It makes you someone else. All of these would not have been possible without the unwavering support of my family, managers, clubs, coaches, teammates, and most importantly, my ever loyal fans. You supported me through my highs and lows, even on days that I did not live up to your expectations. I say a big thank you. That's Mikel Obi, former Super Eagles captain. He has highs and lows, and Nations Cup when Nigeria finished third, and all. I mean, everyone will come out for Mikel Obi. He didn't play well, and some say he should have been a number 10 and not a defensive midfielder. He could play number 10 role for Nigeria. He's playing defensive midfielder in the club. There's so many things about Mikel Obi, but we appreciate what he did for Nigeria, especially dedicating his time, energy, all of it. But right now, you will have to face his family and every other thing. But he said something about, okay, this is just a phase. Another phase to start. So we're waiting for Mikel. What's next for him? I remember when I asked him the question, when he was in Lagos some time ago, he says, look, he's just happy being with his family, just enjoying the time he never spent with them when he was playing football. But he's happy doing that right now. But something is definitely cooking for John Mikel Obi. So just watch this space, and we'll definitely bring you up to speed for what he's up to. From all of us here, happy retirement, Mikel Obi. All right, Shagun, okay, there's still so much to talk about on the program, especially involving the Curling Federation of Nigeria. When we have the president joining us on the program, when we have him, we'll definitely bring it up to you. He will be talking about the Winter Youth Olympics. What are they up to? Have they qualified it? I think they have just one more to qualify and cross that hurdle and see if they can participate. Of course, they're doing too many grassroots programs they've been up to recently, and he's doing so much to ensure that that sport will grow in Nigeria. We'll definitely bring you up to date with that one when he's available. I mean, curling is one sport that, yes, is not popular because there is no winter, because you know there's no snow in Nigeria. But the way curling is done, usually you can play it in comfort for home anywhere. So because of the way it's different from the usual way it is bobsleigh and some other one, but curling is kind of different because you can actually play it in any space at all because of the way the sport is played. So a lot of grassroots programs have been done. They were able to raise a Nigerian team, because remember the first time they went for the Olympics, it wasn't Nigerian team, it was, you know, Nigerian-born players overseas. But right now, you now have a team from Nigeria. They're able to grow a team, which will, they're trying to see how they can expose them internationally.
A wonderful one, no doubt. You know, like I said before, like we said on the show, anyway, the way to sports is grassroots. And
yes.
I remember last time that we featured in the Winter Olympics we were all foreign-based players, and this time there's a change in paradigm, so which is a good one for Nigeria, no doubt. And then let's say it pounds out for us, and hopefully we'll get better. You know, this is one of the first of its kind. You know, having people that are basically not foreign-based. So it will be a good one for us to pick up something. You know, probably at least one on. Right. But the bigger picture is the most important thing. You know, how we can have more players playing it at the grassroots level, playing it in Nigeria, like you said, playing it in your house, or probably playing it in your bathroom. You know what I can tell. But then let's see how it pans out for the Green White Green.
While we're waiting for the president, Daniel, to join us, Daniel Damola to join us, we'll just take you to the live games going on, international friendlies across the world, where Nigeria, of course, is in action against Algeria, Tunisia, and the game is still 1-1 for Algeria and Nigeria. Remember, it was Terim that scored first for the Super Eagles of Nigeria before Riyad Mahrez equalized via a penalty spot. Of course, questionable officiating the first half. We hope second half will be better. But you have other games going on. Senegal and Iran ended 1-1. The game between South Africa and Botswana, it was a lone goal victory. South Africa winning by a lone goal. Madagascar and Benin Republic. Madagascar beating Benin Republic 3-1. And Libya and Tanzania, it was 2-1 in favor of Libya. The game between Egypt and Liberia, Egypt winning by 2-0. Cote d'Ivoire and Guinea, it was a 3-1. Nicaragua and Ghana winning that by a lone goal. Tunisia and Brazil, at halftime, it was a 4-1. That's how the game was going at halftime. We don't know how many goals Brazil will score before the game will end. But then it's international friendlies. Also, countries are just trying to be busy. While in Europe, of course, there's UEFA Nations League going on. But those who are going to the World Cup are playing friendlies. Even those that are not going to the World Cup are also keeping all your players busy. For you, the game between you watched, we saw the first half before we came into the studio. For you, I mean, the Super Eagles are playing better compared to how they played against the Group B of the Algerian national team that ended 2-all.
That was a terrible performance in the Algeria team B. You know, we had, I think, four English players that played in that game, and then the hauler by Maduka Okoye, and he raised questions as regards his abilities. You know, maybe they say
Brazil and Tunisia is now 5-1.
They say they find boy keeper, so it was obvious that coming today that he wasn't going to start today, and then we saw the lineup. Kevin Bassi, he has been excellent for Ajax. You know, that man has been he has been a super tanker for us. You know, at the center of the back, you know, young player, he knows his onions, playing in Europe, and then it seems as if Riyad Mahrez has a move button because he just can't stop scoring or can't just stop forcing a against the Super Eagles. But it's a friendly, no doubt, and let's say I pounds out for the others. We want to win because although friendlies are just for you to get your team and probably just, you know, get one or two together, how you play, your structure and all of that. So I believe that every player on the bench will be able to get some means at some point in time, maybe except from the second keeper anyway. But then it's a good result, no doubt. At least we'll get the result. At least they're not defeating us 5-1 or 4-1 or whatever, because we in the past 4 or 5 fixtures we have not defeated them. I said this in the last time I was here. But then let's say I pounds out for the Super Eagles
of Nigeria. All right, and as I said earlier, I hope the referee will behave himself and then give us a good game. Sometimes just want to have a good game. Officiating has to be very fair. You wouldn't want to have some dubious penalties. It's just a friendly, and of course, it's just to see the players, keep them busy. Even if these two teams are not going to the World Cup, remember Cameroon stopped Algeria, and of course Ghana stopped Nigeria. It's so painful that those two top teams in Africa are not going to the World Cup. When Qatar comes, that's when we'll actually feel the pain. All right, Austin, I don't know if Austin is there. Austin, I mean, the game, second half is on right now. We'll see how it's going to pan out, if Nigeria will be able to win this one. And, of course, just give Nigerians something to smile about, because everyone is tuning into their game, trying to, you know, just catch a glimpse of the Super Eagles to see if they've improved from the performance in the first leg, which ended 2-all, and see how this one will go.
I think they've done just fine. If we want to, you know, go by what we saw in the first half, the Super Eagles of Nigeria were actually impressive, and they're trying to still hold their own in the second. I must commend Alex Iwobi. I think Pizarro knows where to play Alex Iwobi, and if you take a look at the role he's playing now, he has more offensive instinct, you know, and then trying to curtail this Algerian side also. Midfield a bit choke up. I think I'm impressed with what I saw Akpogomadu, Seydou Sanusi also. Generally, it's been a spirited, you know, performance by the Super Eagles. They're having water break now, and towards, I think just when we started second half, Coach Jamel showed us that he can actually play football. Cecilia gave us some, you know, back heel when the ball went out of play. So it's been all-round entertainment, and I let the best team win. But now referee has, you know, toned down a bit and is being fair with officiating. So maybe when the Super Eagles get into their reading, they might get one more goal in this one.
I think that's what I want to see. Fair game, get into the rhythm and not disrupt the game by some questionable calls, and you'll be wondering and trying to check your eyes. Are my eyes okay? Or maybe I don't know the rules anymore. But I think second half will definitely come up better. But let's live with the Super Eagles game. Of course, we'll bring you updates as we go on the show to see how it's going to end. And we told you earlier that the sports minister actually met with the 11 presidential candidates going for the Nigerian Football Federation hottest seat. Yes, that's a hottest seat, because usually when you are on that seat, I mean, you're not just handling the federation alone. You're handling like more than 200 million people, because everyone in Nigeria happens to be a coach. I mean, you have keyboard coaches, Twitter coaches, social media coaches, and everything. And of course, not only that, you have those who feel this could have been done better. And these are pictures coming from there. They were anxiously waiting for the sports minister for hours before he finally joined them. He met with them. There's a whole lot coming out from there. And of course, what we learned is the fact that one of those that were interviewed, one of the presidential candidates, who happens to be also the vice president of Nigerian Football Federation, first vice president Sheyi Akiyomi, spoke to the media after that. But then the issue now is that the election is scheduled to hold on the 30th. And of course, he hosted these behind closed doors, but then they're all vying for one particular position. But the issue is the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja. I mean, there's halted the scheduled NFF Congress. And of course, this board is led by this suit that was filed is by Harrison Jala, that he's leading the Professional Footballers Association of Nigeria. And of course, he feels, well, the election cannot go ahead because of some issues that are currently going on in Nigeria. But when we come back from this break, we'll have to be listening to the first vice president of Nigerian Football Federation, Sheyi Akiwumi, telling us what that meeting was all about, because what that meeting was all about, and we'll know what it really is. Will the elections still go ahead? But that wasn't even part of the discussion at all tonight.
The fact is, we're talking football here. Football is something that excites most people in Nigeria. And there wasn't any rancor. It was just a discussion, a heart-to-heart discussion about where we are as football administrators, as government, as Nigerians. There wasn't anything controversial. There wasn't any issue that would make any one of us frown. So really, there isn't much to report, unfortunately, beyond the fact that we're all going back tonight to our various locations, I guess, to continue our hostings and campaign for votes. You see, the issue of the courts and the injunction and all that, it has to do with the electoral committee, not with us. There's not much we can do. If the electoral committee says that this is what their interpretation of what was served on them means that we can't have the election, then we don't. If it says we can, then we do.
All right, that's NFF First Vice President Sheyi Akiwumi talking about the fact that the issue of the court happens to be with the Electoral Committee. So from all indication, from what we know, Ashegun, is the fact that the elections, as it stands now, they're going ahead with the elections. But Austin, I'm going to bring you into it. We've been talking about this election process, the court cases and everything. Will these elections go ahead or not? Because if you have to read what Harrison Jala said on that paper that was served, they're giving them from now till 5 p.m. tomorrow, right?
You know, Cecilia, we get to see all of these shenanigans whenever we have elections coming up. When we were getting ready for this election, I told the guys in the studio that we should pray that we have the elections, you know, because I've been covering NFF elections from the days of Sani, Lulu, Abdullahi, and I know that there is no election period that does not have drama, you know. But Harrison Jala and his team, I think they mean business this time around. They're saying that they want a wider NFF Congress. They want, you know, the more persons to be able to, you know, to vote. They want some amendments in the NFF statutes. And we've said it severally that football matters shouldn't go to the court. But people insist that this is the Nigeria Football Federation, and that when the NFF needs money, they run to the federal government. You know, that there is no way that you're not going to get Nigeria involved in the administration of football in Nigeria. So let's hope that this meeting with the minister today will clear the pathway towards having the elections on the 30th. Maybe he needs to also have a meeting with some of the persons that are aggrieved so that they can withdraw, you know, whatever case they have in courts, you know, because it will not do our football any good. And that was what Sheyi Akiwumi was trying to talk about, that they are all, you know, trying to reason towards the development of football in Nigeria. I know part of what the minister would have discussed with them, there was closed-door meeting, would have been the 10-year development master plan that whoever is going to be elected into the Nigerian Football Federation should have in mind that he's going to work with that master plan that has been approved by the federal government. You know, some other persons have called this subtle interference. Now, why is the minister meeting with presidents, intending presidents before the elections, you know, are done? You know, but it is what it is, Cecilia. We'll get to see what it is. Well, quick update is now Algeria 2, Nigeria 1. Stunner of a goal to give Algeria the lead. I'm sorry I'm landing that way.
Okay. You have to finish it up with that. Really, we'll go back there. I mean, your thoughts on the minister's meeting with the 11 presidential candidates. From all indication, the postponement of the election wasn't discussed. Maybe the 10-year plan according to Austin. But maybe by tomorrow, later tonight, we'll know what the minister actually discussed with them. But they didn't want to say. They just they'll continue with their campaign. And of course, the elective Congress will be the one to determine if the election is going to go ahead or not. Remember Friday's 30th?
No, if you ask me, I'll have to ask you.
Okay.
Or like that popular song says, if you ask me, now what?
Really back at me, right?
But like Austin said, I think Austin has followed this election from the way back, and then you know, Austin is a senior colleague in industry, so he knows the nitty-gritty behind. Maybe there's something he wants to tell us, they don't tell us anyway. But him having a meeting doesn't necessarily change anything, and then maybe he's encouraging them, or maybe he's telling us something that we shouldn't be hearing. But this election issue has been there's always been an issue from way back. Oh, there's a bomb scare. I think that it came out last week. Now the elections now. There's always and we can't move forward without this election. And like Austin said, there won't be. We might not have an election. But they're promising us that we're going to have the election.
It's Tuesday.
So we still have 2 days in between. We'll be praying for them for the election. That's all I can say.
All right, we'll put the NFF elections and discussion on hold right now, and also updates coming from the game between Nigeria and Algeria. Quickly go to Germany, where the president of Nigeria Curling Federation will be joining us, Daniel Adamola, to talk about what they are currently doing now, what they intend to do, and of course their preparations for the Youth Winter Olympics. What the federation have been able to groom homegrown talent. That's what everyone has been talking about. You're not just going to rely on players that when they're born here. You want to grow the sport, you have to start from the grassroots, and people are embracing the sport. They are happy with it. To know that, yes, Nigeria can actually have this, even if you don't have to go over there to the UK or Germany or anywhere, but then you can have homegrown talent participating in curling, actually, playing the sport. Good evening, Danny. It's good to have you join us on the program.
Good evening, Cecilia. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been. So tell us, quick update coming from your federation. What are you guys up to currently outside trying to get players from the grassroots to play this sport professionally?
Well, I want to congratulate Nigerians because we fought for the country to have a slot for the African nation, a nation within the African bloc, to have a slot for the Youth Winter Olympic. Graciously, Thomas Bach, the IOC president, through our international federation, granted us this opportunity. And now we are planning, to now cement our legacy in the winter sport again by being the first African nation, to go into the Olympics. We don't mind, even though it's Youth Winter Olympics, and we have some games to play. Having said this, I think we've been grooming them from the home front. Like you guys know, you've been doing a wonderful work for us at Channels TV. Kudos to you guys, because without you, there will be no Curling Nigeria today. So, with much ado, we have a team of 5 boys, 5 girls that will be representing the country come far away in Finland in December, whereby they will be playing their next game in order to cement our legacy as the first African nation that will participate in the Youth Winter Olympics come 2024 in South Korea. And I believe the team are ready to go. But like I will always say, the country says Nigeria calls, we obey. And what Austin made mention about the issue of NFF running to the federal government to ask for money, then the government will interfere. But in our case, this is different. We've been funding the federation on our own, like you guys know from channels there, from inception till date. Taking out about 15 youths at the center, as you can see them training there, all the way to Europe to, train them on ice. It's not an easy task, kids, everything. So now, for us, we've processed their visas now. So we are waiting for the funds to come in for wherever the sponsors or whatever we are looking up to get us the tickets so that we can cement this legacy and this historic feat for Nigeria.
Daniel, let me come in. I love what I see on the screen. You know, curling is I love the sport. What I see during the Olympics requires a lot of precision, a lot of focus. And I keep saying that with the population that God has blessed Nigeria with, we can compete in any sport at any event. So good job you're doing for the development of curling. Another team were in Glasgow, I think 2 weeks ago. What happened there? What updates can you give us?
Actually, we went there to to play a game, but now we are going back to Aberdeen again on the 15th to 22nd of October for the mix as well. That's for the senior side to start picking points. And good enough, the Dynamo, TJ Cole will be there, Harold Woods will be there, Tick will be there, and my own daughter, Sheila Daniel, she's of age now, 18, who started this whole coiling stuff, will be there to play for the country as well, to pick point towards the senior Winter Olympics.
Infrastructure is a major problem. I mean, across all board with sports. And this is a sport that Nigerians will be wondering, what is this channel sports showing us, because we don't know much about curling. How are you doing with infrastructure? What we saw on the screen, is this stimulation? How do you go about, ensuring that curling is played the way it should be played in Nigeria?
Actually, infrastructure is the key. We started this issue of developing an ice arena far away in Calabar, but the project is damn big. So along the line, funding is our issue because, the Federation has got no sponsor, and we're still pushing ahead without, allowing anything, to hold us back. But what you've just watched on the screen is what we call floor coiling. That's what we use in training these kids. Then from there, we transcend them to ice. And look at it now from another angle. These kids have never stepped on ice, but yet they'll be competing against the very best come 8th to 19th of December, far away in Finland. But we are now teaching them the rudiments of how to sweep, how to slide, and how you can position yourself so that when we get out from on the first, we'll place them on ice for intensive training for 1 week before they now go into the competition proper. All this you're seeing now is the sheer determination of these young Nigerians you're seeing there. So we are pushing as hard as we can, and then we are doing all we can to make sure that this happens for the country, not just for us.
That's quite interesting. Outside that, you mentioned that you picked about 5 players. The players you picked so far, are they all Nigerian-born players? I mean, players that were born here at home. That's what I mean, not the one born in diaspora.
All of them are right there in Lagos, Nigeria now camping. There are 5 male, 5 female, and then the officials as well is from Nigeria. Myself wouldn't be there. So we want the whole bunch of them to be a local base. But one of us will be there with them, which is Charles Nemeth, also to have them trained as well. So they are all home-based, Queen's College. All of them are basically Nigerian, homegrown from the ghetto.
Now, if you're having a homegrown and you're going to be playing internationally with other countries for us to be able to get that sport, how will they cope with it? What are these things you put in place to ensure that, yes, qualifiers will be smooth for those players? Any chance of them, trying to go to Europe or any other country to, keep abreast with the ice and try as much as possible to get used to weather and everything before they start the qualifiers?
First, we tried getting them to Kazakhstan, I think about last month. I haven't secured the visa, bought all the tickets, about 15 persons, we bought the ticket, but there was insecurity there, so we had to abort. Now, what we are putting in place is that they're going to arrive there a week before the main championship, which we've already arranged while I was in Lucerne last week at the annual General Assembly with the Coiling Finland. So we arranged with them for the team to arrive a week ahead, whereby we'll have ice time for the kids. They will also acclimatize, and then from there, they'll pick up the practice session, morning and evening for 1 week, then before they can get in. But the beautiful thing is that we are not struggling against every other country because Africa has got a slot. We are the only playing nation. We secure the slot if we play, and then that wraps it up.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I must say thank you so much, Daniel Damola, for your time on the show. Before you go, in a minute, are you confident that Nigeria will qualify for the Winter Olympics?
Already we've got the slot. Once we play, then the slot becomes ours automatically. Then we cement it in Germany in March 2023. For sure, like we always say, still we rise. Impossible takes a little longer.
I wanted you to leave us with some optimism, and I'm glad you did just that. Thank you so much for your time on the show. We'll talk to you and get more updates as regards curling in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Nigeria. We love you.
All right, so that's it. President of the Nigeria Curling Federation, Daniel Damola. Cecilia, I don't know about you guys, but I love curling, but there's just something about, you know, when you see Nigeria getting involved in what we're not used to, that's where I think we need to give it more attention.
Obviously, and that's what we're trying to do on the show tonight, just trying to draw more attention to curling. And the fact that Shegun mentioned earlier that they've been able to have a homegrown talent, that's huge, that's big, especially a sport that is not really popular. Of course, we know the popular sports in Nigeria, track and field, football, basketball, and the others, but curling, they're like, okay, what kind of sport? But I believe most people have actually seen how it is played, and of course, what the federation have put in place to ensure that, yes, they're playing, even when they're not getting a subvention from the federal government. But they've been able to put a team together that will be going to the Youth Winter Olympics. The first time an African nation will be there.
A great one, that, and a great invention, and a great way of to change the tidings of how African teams, or Nigeria especially, to be able to participate in Winter Olympics, because it's not our weather, but at least we're having like we spoke earlier, that the sport can be played anywhere, even in the bathroom. So, but he said that a lot of the players are actually they are born and bred in Lagos. So that's to say that it changes the dynamics of things as regards, you know, at least we can still have people that are not we don't have that weather, but at least we have people that are in Nigeria that can be trained. And like us, we always say that teach any Nigerian or come to Nigeria, teach us the sports, in 3 months will become the master. So I believe that he said that he's very confident that we are going to qualify for the World Cup, and let's see how it pans out, and I'm hopeful. And like, you know, Austin's always hopeful that no matter I want to be, Nigeria will always do fine.
That's all we can do, you know.
The Nigeria spirit is always there, Austin. It's always there. That Nigeria spirit is always there. That's what is keeping all the athletes.
Let's take the Niger spirit to Oran now. Okay. Taiwo Awoniyi has just been introduced into the match between Algeria and Nigeria. He has replaced Terence Murphy. I told you earlier it's Algeria 2, Nigeria 1. I said stunner of a goal, but after seeing the replay, Yusuf Atol scored a good goal, but I think Uzor should have done better. Goalkeeper Uzor probably blocked, but in the wrong position, or didn't read that properly. So goalkeeping is still an issue in the Super Eagles. So we'll get to see how Jose Pizarro will handle that. But the defense line, they're trying to, you know, make sure that it doesn't get worse. It's still 2-1. And then hopefully the Super Eagles will find a way to come into this one. But Algeria pushing. They want to ensure that they erase that 2005 record of 5-2 that they lost to the Super Eagles.
Okay, 2-1. That's what the scoreline still is. All right, we'll still bring you updates on that. The match is still going on. We'll just talk about the Flamingos of Nigeria, talking about the under-17 women's national team. They've arrived in Turkey, in Istanbul, where they are having they will be having a 10-day training camp. This is pictures coming from their first training session. They arrived today, and of course, in the evening, they had to go out to start training. They will be there for 10 days before they move to India, where the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup will be taking place. Remember, they are in a very, very tough group, because Germany, they're there. Chile is also in that group, and of course, New Zealand is in that group. Their first match, October 11, where they will be facing, of course, Germany. That's their opening match. But you know what we say? You win your opening game, then you take it from there. But then it's a good one that the NFF were able to fulfill this. The Falconets couldn't have that training camp, but then the Flamingos are having the opportunity to have the 10 days training camp. Of course, with this one, I believe the coaches, the players will be excited knowing that, yes, they have that 10 days to be in Europe, get acclimatized, get used to playing other teams, because I believe while they're there, they will be playing some club sides before they move to India, where the main event will take place.
Yeah, a wonderful one, that, and you know, Nigeria, we always have talent when it comes to the unders, especially the women side. We are arguably one of the best in Africa. I see us doing Nigeria proud. I see them doing Nigeria. I beg your pardon. We say Nigeria proud. The area of talent, and then of course, just away from all the old shenanigans that's going on, you know, a lot of that. But it is what it is for the Flamingos.
Yeah, it is what it is for the Flamingos. I believe the players, everyone excited with this 10-day training camp, which will be there, put them in a good stead for them to be able to be ready for the World Cup. Coach Olorukere has been able to pick 21 players, talented players, combing the league, and of course getting some from academies, putting them together in Abuja. They're now in Turkey for them to continue that preparations. For you, Austin, I mean, it's been a great one for the women this year. I mean, the four continents qualifying for the World Cup, the under-17 Flamingos qualifying for the World Cup. Of course, the super focus of Nigeria qualifying for the World Cup. But for the men here, we can't say much of that. But then, it's been a good year, and of course, preparations for Flamingos is going smoothly for the girls and also for the technical crew, Austin.
I love it when you get on that roller coaster ride because the women are doing so well. But you have all the bragging rights, Cecilia. Yes, the women's team
we can see
all day, every day, whenever they have a chance to represent the country, they give it 100%. I love what happened with the Falconets, and that's why I'm looking forward to seeing what the Flamingos can do in India. And Coach Olorukere Bankole, there's just something about how he has set up this team during the qualifiers. They kept getting better match after match. Now with this level of preparation, maybe they will be, you know, in the right tune for the World Cup. You just mentioned, particularly when you're drawn alongside Germany in this level of competition, it's because they've done enough at that level. You cannot, at the under-17 level, start saying that this player is world class, but it's because of what the country has invested. So that's why we should be glad that this is in place for the Flamingos. They should make good use of it so that they can prepare properly for the World Cup. But good luck to Coach Olorukere Bankole. We love him so much because he was part of the Channels International Kids Cup in 2014 and 2015. Now look at the progress. When I say the Channels Kids Cup is not just about discovering talent, you see coaches are also doing well. Coach Jolomi from the Channels Kids Cup is part of the under-17 setup and is the coach at Aqua United. So it's 360 degrees branding that we've done for the country. And I think the federal government should find a way to say, well done to the Channels International Kids Cup.
We are waiting for that OON on the way, because this is a big one for you to be joining out those talents. And of course, not getting that OON from it. Wishing the Flamingos all the best as they continue to prepare for the FIFA under-17 Women's World Cup in India later in the year. Okay, we get updates for you now coming from the UEFA Nations League games currently going on. Well, some countries have been relegated, but the results are Spain and Portugal. Is Spain winning by a lone goal, Switzerland and Czech Republic 2-1, Ireland and Armenia 3-2. That was a close score. Ukraine and Scotland, and this game it's goalless. Okay, and Albania, Iceland 1-0. Norway and Serbia. Serbia beating Norway by 2-0. Where's Ireland again? Okay, Sweden and Northern Ireland is 1-0. Greece and Cyprus are 3-1 in favor of Greece. That's coming from the UEFA Nations League. Just some big games across Europe there. For England, yesterday they were able to, well, it was a draw between England and Germany, but it wasn't the result they wanted. But somehow England, when you see the group now, okay, relegation. For South Korea and Cameroon, that game is 1-1. South Africa and Botswana 1-0. South Africa winning that. Madagascar and Benin Republic 3-1. Libya and Tanzania 2-1. That's international friendlies across the globe. Egypt and Liberia now 3-0. Cote d'Ivoire and Guinea 3-1. Nicaragua and Ghana are 1-0. Of course, Nigeria, Algeria and Nigeria, that game is still 2-1. It's still live. The game is still currently going on. Hope that Nigeria will be able to close in on this one, at least not get beaten. Paraguay and Morocco is still goalless, and the game between Brazil and Tunisia is a 5-1. Still 5-1. Tunisia have stopped the bleed. The bleeding, I thought, was going to be more than this, but then they've been able to stop the bleeding when Brazilians, when they are on it. I mean, you really can't stop them, especially when they are in their own element. Just these are results from international friendlies, UEFA Nations League, and of course, all the big games currently going on in Europe. Austin, just a quick one on the UEFA Nations League before we touch down on Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua fight being caught up.
You know, Cecilia, the UEFA Nations League, I really don't know what countries are trying to, you know, achieve with that. But for me, it's just such an international friendly. But I love the game between England and Germany yesterday. Good show of, you know, football. England showed that they could fight and all of that. But every other result I have seen so far in the UEFA Nations League, people are particularly careful because you don't want to get players injured. We're counting down to the World Cup, so they are just using this to, you know, test, you know, team bonding, togetherness, team spirit, and, you know, get the blend that they need to play together. Yeah. But I don't think it's so much of a competition that you know, teams will go out of their way to, you know, get results. It's just to, you know, get them in the right shape for the World Cup in November. Yeah, according to Seferin, instead of playing meaningless international friendlies, just have a competition, and that's what they're doing right now. Okay, quickly before we close on the show, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. I talked about the fact that that's a fight I don't want to see right now because Anthony Joshua really needs to get better before he fights Tyson Fury. But I'm happy. I'm sure the only person that is actually happy right now that the fight has been called up because according to Tyson Fury, they could not meet the deadline. Austin, was he really serious about the offer? I think he was, you know, but really? Sometimes... Yeah, I think Fury was. You know, he knows that we need to settle this once and for all. Who is the king of the Britannia? You know, who is that person that commands the respect when you talk boxing in the United Kingdom? I think that was what Tyson Fury had in mind. But you know, most times, Cecilia, if the promoters are not into this fight thing, it's not going to happen, you know, so we'll wait. Whenever they want to have the fight, we'll wait. Yeah, just a quick one from you before I let you go, before we wrap up the show. We just have 30 seconds to live here. We've always known that Tyson Fury always has a way of, we want to fight Anthony Joshua, so every match that Anthony fights, he's always throwing jabs, always throwing, he said he called him a bodybuilder, you know, he said that he's so slow to fight Usyk. Yeah. So I don't feel like it was not serious. I just feel like probably you know, when it comes to fighting creating a boxing match, a lot goes down to the promoter, the sharing formula, because I think he gave him 60-40 or so. That was so happened. And then they gave him a deadline on Monday, 5 p.m. And then Anthony never replied. And because on the flip side, I know you don't see this way. On the flip side, it was a redemption for Anthony Joshua. Anthony wins. Will continue on another day, right? Anthony wins is back to the limelight. Anthony loses at the end of his career. Austin, we gotta go, so wrap this up. No. Yeah, Shago was already in the mood. He didn't want to stop, you know. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonak, and in everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now. Shago, thank you so much for coming on the program. Thank you very much. From me to you, I say to lose. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a fantastic night rest.